Good morning, YouTube and Facebook. This is Michael, the Prophet Dreamer. Today, I believe, is March 26, 2020. And right now, we're under coronavirus quarantine or COVID-19 quarantine, whatever we're calling it, the virus. And I normally don't make these videos with this backdrop. My computer has fan noise, and I like everything to be turned off because I don't like the fan noise, but we'll try to fix that. Anyway, let's get to the point. Let me be a respecter of your time. And I normally don't like to, I haven't been able to get haircuts. I've been trimming myself up. So I probably don't look the greatest, and it's 6:30 in the morning, so bear with me. I have my trusty Bible with me. It's the only thing I trust. I just want to talk about my country. We say we are the greatest country in the world. I'm sure Norway says they're the greatest country in the world. I'm pretty sure Switzerland says they're the greatest country in the world. I know Russia and China say they're the greatest country in the world. So I don't know what that means when we say we're the greatest country in the world. But right now, we don't even have enough surgical masks to give to our nurses and doctors and EMT responders and anyone who needs a mask, someone who works at a nursing home. We supposedly live in the number one economy in the United States. I'm sorry, the number one economy in the world. I believe California is probably the number one economy in the United States. Anyway, we say we're the number one economy in the world, and I'm sure China says they're the number one economy in the world, and I'm pretty sure Russia says they're the number one economy in the world. Yet we can't get enough masks to the people who need them, surgical masks to protect them from this virus. I want you to think about that. We live in the number one economy in the world. We don't have enough masks for our nurses, our doctors, people on the front line of this virus. We don't have a number one mask. There's a coffee store every other block in my neighborhood. There's McDonald's every mile, but we don't have enough masks. Right now, we say we live in the number one economy in the world, the greatest country in the world, a Christian nation. And right now, there are at least 20 retailers around me that sell toilet paper, and I literally cannot go to the store and buy one roll of toilet paper to wipe my rectum. And I'm sorry if I have to be graphic. It just bothers me. Now, I went to Costco about 2 weeks ago, and I said, well, I better buy some toilet paper because everyone's taking all the toilet paper. And they had a limit of 2. So I took 2 because that was the prudent thing to do. That was the Christian thing to do. I'm really disappointed in people right now. I'm disappointed in Christians who say they're Christians. How do you go to the store and say, I'm going to buy everything and screw my neighbors? How much toilet paper did you really need? You weren't even willing to sacrifice. You could have timed your defecating around you going to the shower. You could have made some sacrifice. You could have said, I'm going to use half the paper. Your first thought was, I'm going to buy as much as I can for my family and screw everyone else. I'm already hearing stories about, entrepreneurs who went out and bought all the hand sanitizers they could, all the Lysol they could. They've got a storage unit somewhere just stacked with Lysol and hand sanitizer and toilet paper. And their first thought was, let me go get as much as I can so I can make a profit off my fellow Americans. And sometimes I just, I know we do not read this book. Okay, this is what I suggest. Go to the New Testament and read the letters in the red and see what Jesus said. How do we call ourselves Christians if we don't even do the basics. The Pharisees come down to Jesus and they ask him, what is the most important commandment in the law? They're asking him, what is the most important thing we should do? What's the most important commandment that we should do? And he says, love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And the second is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself. So running out and buying all the sanitizer so you can make a profit off people is not loving your neighbor. And you do know, like, if everyone had hand sanitizer and Lysol, maybe we could flatten the curve on the spread of this virus. But your thought was, I'm gonna go out and buy everything so I can make some money. I'm gonna buy 10 cases of toilet paper and screw my neighbor because it's more important that I survive than you. And I get it, everyone wants to survive. But once did you think about me? Did you think about my neighbors? I had yet to hoard anything. And to be honest, I couldn't have hoarded anything because when I went to the store, everything was gone. So I went and bought what I needed for my family. And I thought, okay, let me try to buy 2 weeks worth of food. I didn't hoard anything, and I have some toilet paper, but now I got to go out and get some more. I can't find any Lysol spray. It's very hard to find any Clorox wipes. I'm trying to wipe down my door handles. I'm trying to spray the boxes that are being delivered to me. They say this thing lives on cardboard, for many days. I'm not sure the correct amount of days. I heard it was 17 days on that cruise ship that this virus is living. But I'm not scared of this virus. This too shall pass. I'm a reader of history. There's been the Spanish flu, there's been the bubonic plague. This happens in history. If you read history, you'll see that these things happen. But I put my faith in this. And God did not give me a spirit of fear. And I'm going to keep moving on. But I just really, really have to ask you guys, stop posting all your negative memes on Facebook that you don't even know if the information is true. Let's all be positive. Let's try to let's love one another. That's what Jesus said. We call ourselves Christians. Let me be very clear on this. We call ourselves Christians because we follow the Christ, Jesus Christ. We should at least do what the man said. We should at least read his word. If I was to make a religion up and say I'm a person who believes in Johnny Cash and I'm a Cashian, I would definitely go listen to Johnny Cash's music. I would definitely go watch and see what Johnny Cash says. So if you call yourself a Christian and you follow Jesus, pick up this book and read what he says to do, and let's do those things. And he said the number one thing is love thy neighbor. Now, obviously, he actually said love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. But he said the second is like unto it. And he says on this, hang all the laws and prophets. Hang all the laws and prophets. So everything is supported by love. Love covers a multitude of sin. I'm sorry, this coffee moment's going off the rails because really I'm pissed. I'm upset. I'm disappointed. And I just, to be honest, I went and checked on all the neighbors in my neighborhood that I have a contact with or had their email with or I text them, do you need anything? I had stuff I was willing to give up, stuff that we probably needed. And I don't like doing this because I don't want to seem like I'm bragging. Look at me, look what I did. But I do want to demonstrate love. At the end of all this, if we can't show love, then we're doing this Christian thing wrong. If we can't show love, we are doing this Christian thing wrong. And we wonder why, church attendance is empty. I know some millennials on my job. I know some Generation Z people on my job. And I asked them about their faith, and their family goes to church, but they said they don't go anymore. They're not atheists. I guess they're agnostic. And one of the reasons is because they don't want to pay the entry fee. They think that they've been watching all these mega pastors and these guys on these Christian networks asking for money, flying for jets, and they're like, I'm not willing to pay the entry fee. And the second thing that they tell me is you guys say you're Christians, you show you're supposed to show love, but they didn't like how we treated the homosexuals. And that's just it. They didn't like how we treated them. We had people on TV, speaking against them getting married, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that's the will of God. But I see people lying, I see people cheating. I know people who have adultery. I even think hoarding is now a sin. And so who am I to speak out on particular? I got my own problems. If anyone went back through my history, I would be embarrassed. So I can't, it's not my job to speak on anybody else's sin. I'm not saying I'm for it, but what I'm saying is we could have shown love. We literally had Christians, so-called Christians, standing in front of funerals with a sign that says God hates, I'm not even going to say the word, the F word, God hates. God doesn't hate anyone. And we should have told those people to shut up. We as Christians should have went down there and took their signs from them and say, this is not Christ-like. That's a whole nother conversation. The point I'm trying to make is, if we're going to be Christians, let's follow this book and be Christ-like, and let's not pick out one sin that we hate and run everyone off. We should have invited those people to church. We have adulterers in church. We have cheaters in church. We have liars in church. We have people who steal in church. It's not up to us to judge whose sin is worse. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So, if you think that this video is useful, hit the subscribe button. I'm done caring about subscribers. I'm going to preach God's word. My thing is going to be love, love, and love. I'm going to be a one-man preacher that preaches about love, love, and love. I might deviate off on other topics, but at the end of the day, my number one priority for this YouTube channel is love. It's not about teaching you how to get more subscribers. It's about love. It's not teaching you about how to get better thumbnails. We'll probably do that, but it is about love. If you can't show love in what you're doing, then and I really don't want to be involved in helping you. If you can't show love, this is all just a waste of time. Thank you. This is Michael, the Prophet Dreamer. I appreciate your comments down below. If you think I'm off the rails on this, say it. If you're an atheist, leave your comments, and I'm definitely willing to have a conversation with you, because it's you I want to love. I want to show you that we're supposed to love you and not argue with you. If you're an agnostic, leave a comment down below. Thank you. Michael, the Prophet Dreamer.